Hello YouTube, Dave here again. So I'm taking a bit of a break from my D&D collecting tips videos. I was out late last night doing some training for some volunteer work that I want to do that uses Dungeons and Dragons in a really cool way. I'll talk more about that later. I just want to make sure and see what I can discuss and what I can't. But it is a really cool thing, and anyway, so it was just late getting home last night, and still a little under the weather. I've had a cold for a little while now, and it feels worse today than it has other days. And I think it was just because I was out late last night, and headaches, and I had a lot of trouble sleeping. So anyway, that's all, not necessarily the most important thing or why I'm making this video. The reason that I'm making this video is I have crossed off one of my holy grail items to get for my collection. I just gotta wait for it to show up. It's gonna be a little while. But for anyone who's familiar with Drive-Thru RPG, specifically like the Dungeon Masters Guild part of it, Drive-Thru RPG is a online service that you can get PDFs of a lot of out-of-print or older role-playing games and products. And Dungeon Masters Guild is a part of it that focuses specifically on Dungeons and Dragons in particular. And what's really cool about this is they also have a print-on-demand service. So I've shown off a couple of their print-on-demand items before with the Prince of the Apocalypse or Elemental Evil Player's Companion, as well as the Scourge of the Sword Coast adventure, which that's how I managed to pick that up. So, it's a really cool service, but what they finally did, and I've been watching this item for a while, hoping that they would do this, the D&D Rules Cyclopedia for Basic, Expert, Companion, and Master set rules is now available print on demand. So I'm making this video now because it's something that I really want to promote, because there was a descent into the depths of the earth or something like that. It was the first edition AD&D adventures that followed the Against the Giant series. So it was the ones where you were going up against the Drow and ending with the Queen of the Demon Web Pits. So one of the adventures in that series, or a couple of the adventures in that series, was available for print on demand, and I was going to pick it up, I just didn't have the funds, and it's not even showing as available on here anymore. So I want to make this video because if anybody's interested in getting the D&D Rules Cyclopedia, do it as quickly as you can in case they remove it from print on demand in the near future. So the other one lasted, I think it was about a month or two, and then it just kind of disappeared. So what this is, if anyone's not fully aware, back during like the early days of Dungeons and Dragons, there were several different versions of it released. The reason why first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is because it was a separate product from what we commonly refer to as D&D Basic. Now, the basic rules, there were a few different versions of the basic rules set created. And the most famous ones, I think, would be the Menser D&D rule sets, which had the 5 box sets. It started with the basic rules, expert rules, and there were companion, master, and immortals. Mortals I have absolutely no interest in, because that's when you get so high level that levels don't matter anymore, and that just sounds like a nightmare. But the basic and expert rules, as well as the companion and master rules, are things that still get a lot of use and have a pretty dedicated community of people who still love it. And it was a really cool version of Dungeons & Dragons. And even though it's called or generally referred to as D&D Basic, it's not really that basic. It's just not quite as ridiculous as the advanced Dungeons & Dragons, as far as like all these charts and the types of rules, stuff like that. It was kind of neat because the Rules Cyclopedia, or the D&D Basic rules, actually had a version of your statistics more in line with what we had in the 3rd edition days. So your stats just gave you a modifier. It didn't quite work out to the same numbers. Like I think an 18 gave you a +3 instead of a +4. But it was really cool that they did that. And things like this is the version of D&D where elves and dwarves were a class progression and not just a race. So you couldn't choose like an elven fighter or an elven cleric or a dwarven cleric or dwarven rogue. You were an elf or a dwarf, and the elves were really cool, but they leveled at a snail's pace. Back then, everyone leveled at different progression rates. So you had like the rogue, so the human could be like a rogue, fighter, cleric, or magic user. And like so the human rogue, I think they gained second level at like 1,200 experience points or 1,250. The fighter, I want to say, or maybe the rogue was even at 1,000. It was the rogue had the lowest progression, and like the wizard I think had the highest, which was like 2,500 I think for the human classes. I want to say that's when the when the wizard gained their second level. The elf gained second level at 4,000 experience points. And that's just insane. So at 4,000 they gained second level. The benefit of being an elf is that they were both a fighter and a magic user, and I believe they could wear armor and not have it affect them. Like they didn't lose their spells because they were wearing it. But still, 4,000 experience. Their third level was at 8,000 experience. So it's pretty ridiculous. So why should you care about this? Again, if you're looking to collect this version or to get this in your collection, this is amazing. The prices, so what we have is you can get just the PDF for $10. That's already, an awesome thing if you're into PDFs. I'm not. I have a hard time reading them on the computer. It hurts my eyes after a while, even with the brightness turned all the way down. You can also get a soft cover. Now it says color book. But honestly, I think it was all black and white anyway inside. Maybe there were a few pages with color in them. I honestly can't remember. But a softcover version of it, which is a 304-page book, is $24.99. I believe that these are all U.S. prices. But $24.99 is a good price. But you can also get a hardcover, which is what I ordered, for $29.99. So that is really awesome. And you can also bundle these things in. So for example, if I would have picked up the watermarked PDF plus the hardcover book, it only would have cost me an extra $2, but again, I want the actual physical product. I'm not going to read it as a PDF on my computer. I did have a PDF of it downloaded before, and I just couldn't read it. I just don't like reading PDFs. It just doesn't work for me. But this is really cool. So the reason that you should jump on this right now is because, again, it may not last for too long as far as a print-on-demand service goes. And furthermore, let's just look over at eBay here. So eBay, to get any of the rules Cyclopedia, like if you want to pick these up, this is ebay.com. So this is again in US dollars. All right, so this is not the Canadian one. So in US dollars, to get these pre-owned books, which came out like in the 70s or 80s. I think it was the 80s. Actually, for the Rule Cyclopedia, I'm pretty sure it was definitely the late 80s, maybe early 90s. Does it give a publication date? No, it doesn't give a publication date. Maybe it's in the history here. I just want to see. I'm pretty sure this was like late 80s. Maybe even early 90s. The hardcover, basic one last time, prepare new rules. The compilation Rule Cyclopedia, 1980, nope, okay, it doesn't really give me an easy date here. Something that I can look up when I do the actual videos for it, when I get the reviews of it. But anyway, but again, so this was like a late 80s product, I think, mid to late 80s, probably mid, since the Immortal rule set wasn't included, and I think that it was because it came out before the Immortals rules. Anyway, so $66 is the lowest price I've seen for the Rule Cyclopedia. Then it goes to $125, plus $13 shipping and handling, $86, $173.77, $208.54. I mean, for the love of everything that's, rational, if you're paying $200 for this book, you should give them free shipping. Honestly, even if it's from the United Kingdom, that's still a lot of money. So $225 or $355, buy it now with $17 in shipping. And this is from the US. $199.49, $100, $187.50, $189.95. So if you want to get the Rule Cyclopedia, screw getting it off eBay, because that's just ridiculous. Go to DriveThruRPG or go to www.dmsguild.com. I'm going to put the link for this in the description, but pick this up if you want it, if you've been waiting for this. It is just, like I said, this is a holy grail item. And for me, this is one of those things, I don't care if it's not the original printing or the original version that came out back in the day. I just want this in my collection as a physical item, and now I've bought it. I just have to wait for it to show up. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, if you're interested even the slightest, pick this up as soon as you can, because again, I'm hoping that this stays available for quite some time. But there was something that I was following, and like 2 months later it was removed from the print on demand list, and now I don't even think it's on the DMs Guild at all. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.